All right, we'll call the Green Bay Sex Offender Residency Board to meet. We'll take roll call.
We got you.
Okay. We need to make an amendment to the agenda as the appeal of Raymond Cullen, he has asked to withdraw his application. So if I could get a motion to amend the agenda.
Move to withdraw Mr. Collin from consideration today.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Then I'll need an approval of the minutes from the April 16th meeting.
Move to
I
approve.
think we need to approve the agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let's go back and
I rescind.
approve the amended agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now we'll get an approval for the minutes from the April 16th meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Our first regular order of business is the appeal of Raul Vera Segura. Are you present? Raul, come forward.
Pase por acá, por favor.
And then we have Mario interpreting for
Yes.
Raul. Okay. All right. Raul, this is your first time appearing before the board.
Esta es la primera vez que se está apareciendo frente al grupo. Yes.
So we are going to ask you a series of questions. The first thing we're going to ask you is what you were arrested and convicted for. When you talk about the crime, we ask that you not mention the victim by name or relationship.
So, le vamos a hacer una serie de preguntas entonces, por qué fue arrestado, cuál fue lo que cometió. Cuando esté hablando del incidente, no queremos que nombre la víctima por nombre o que lo defina, la identifique, ¿ok?
And before we go too far, I just want to mention that when we talk about treatment, you have the option to do that in closed session or remain in public session.
Una sesión pública o puede hacerlo privado.
What would your preference
¿Qué
be?
preferiría usted? You mean like when I talk here?
Uh-huh.
Sí.
Just about his treatment.
Solamente el tratamiento. No, it's fine.
Fine that we can stay in public
¿Está bien que
session?
estamos en público? Yes.
Okay. All right, so if he could first go ahead and tell us what he was arrested and
Señor, ¿no puede
convicted
decir
for?
entonces por qué fue arrestado y por qué fue encontrado culpable?
Sí, le he tocado a dos menores de edad.
I touched two minors.
He what?
I touched two minors.
Attached?
Touched.
I
Oh.
touched.
Oh, touched. Yeah. Could he be a little bit more specific?
Puede ser un poquito más específico en esto.
Sí, pero una de ellas tocó en la tierra, de la rosada.
I touched somebody in the leg, and the other one is just wrapped.
Una jugó cuando pones a la pelota, en la pierna, sí, así.
We were playing soccer, and I touched her legs.
Just her leg.
Solamente la pierna.
Sí, aparte.
Yeah, the upper leg.
And where did he touch the other child?
¿Y la otra dónde le raspó? ¿O tocó?
Sí, la parte de aquí.
In this area.
In the buttocks?
En la parte de las nalgas. Yes.
Okay. Can you let him know that we have a representative, we have a lieutenant from the Green Bay Police Department here, and when he's done telling us what he said happened, we're going to confirm with the lieutenant that what he's telling us is accurate.
Tenemos un representante aquí que está presente de la policía, del departamento policial. Entonces, cuando usted termine de comentarnos por qué pasó todo esto, cómo pasó, él va a corroborar con nosotros que esa es la historia correcta, ¿ok?
Sí, sí.
That's fine.
Okay. And so how old were these children?
¿Cuántos años tenían estos niños?
A tiempo, pero
I know it's a while.
10 años.
10 years of age. 9 and 10.
Okay. And how old was he?
¿Y usted cuántos años tenía?
Que de una así. Entonces fue de unos 7 años. Unos 7 años, la otra es mucho tiempo. La otra según es
¿Cuántos años tenía una?
una como una. No, es hace 7 años.
So this happened from one of the child happened about 7 years ago.
la
Okay.
otra pues es mucho tiempo atrás.
And the other one, it was a long time ago.
Okay,
Okay.
got it. And then why did the police get involved?
¿Por qué la policía se envolvió en esto?
Pues, no sé, porque yo no sé qué sorprendido cuando quedé arrestado en el trabajo.
I don't know. I was kind of shocked when I got arrested at work.
¿Y por qué me quedé sorprendido? Porque el mayor me llamó. El mayor me dijo que fuera enfrente a la oficina. Y me quedé pues mal yo porque pues, estaba confundido.
I was kind of, confused when they called me to the office. My manager called me at my work and said, come to the office, and I was shocked when that happened.
Entonces ahí fue donde fue arrestado.
So at that point, I was arrested.
Okay. And did he go to court? Did he take it to trial?
Fue a la corte, fue a juicio.
Pues no fue juicio, me acepté la oferta.
It wasn't a trial, I took the offer.
Oh, plea
So
agreement?
tomó la oferta de la declaración.
Sí, bueno, fue lo que me recomendó el abogado.
Yes, that's what the attorney recommends to do.
Okay.
Por eso no quise seguir.
And what did he get from that?
¿Cuál fue la oferta que le dieron a usted?
Pues me dijeron que me iban a dejar 6 meses con el billete.
They said they were going to give me the device for 6 months.
Pero al último, pues, porque una de las víctimas lloró, me dio 2 meses más.
But at the end of the hearing, one of the victims were crying, so then the judge gave me 2 extra months of the monitor.
Of what?
The monitor?
Income monitor.
Electronic, yeah.
So you got 12 months in the county jail and 4 years probation, is that
A
correct?
usted le dieron 12 meses en la cárcel del condado y después 4 años de libertad condicional, ¿correcto? Yes.
Yes. And did he successfully complete probation?
So usted completamente completó exitosamente la aprobación?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay.
Bueno, todavía me falta como un año.
No, I still have 1 more year to go.
One more year
Un año
on
con
probation?
8 meses.
Yeah, like a year and 8 months.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Does anyone have any questions for him about the crime
¿Tiene
before I talk
preguntas
to the
acerca
police?
del crimen?
None here.
No.
Okay, Lieutenant Allen?
Oficial Allen.
Oh,
Hi.
good afternoon.
Hi. Can you confirm what he
Confirmar lo que él está
said
diciendo.
happened?
¿Qué pasó?
Yes, it's fairly consistent what he said.
Consistente lo que está diciendo.
One of the victims was 7 years old at the time, and it sounded like it happened on multiple occasions. And it wasn't just like touching someone's buttocks, it was touching someone's buttocks with his erect penis. So it was a little bit more detail that he left out, but overall it was accurate what he said.
And that was on a soccer
Eso
field?
fue en el campo de jugar.
Not according to the criminal complaint, it occurred inside his residence, and it involved
Dentro de la residencia.
a friend of
Ahí también había
his daughters.
la hija de mi hija.
She reported that he had inappropriately touched the inside portion of her leg, and then
Y también
later on, it was also reported, I know we're not supposed to use relationships, but there was another incident that was reported with the second victim involving a then stepdaughter that reported repeated acts of sexual assault, where he was apparently rubbing his genitalia against her.
rozándola con su genital.
Okay, thank you. Raul, what do you have to say about what the lieutenant just
¿Qué es lo que tiene que
said that
decir acerca de
happened?
lo que dijo él que pasó?
Porque según la niña contó que yo estaba atrás de ella, que yo estaba atrás de ella, pero mi hija todo el tiempo, bueno, pues estaba siempre junta.
Okay, one second. ¿Cómo que estaba atrás de ella?
Según dice, bueno, no por decir que estaba atrás de ella, y que la toqué, o cómo le iba a tocar si mi hija estaba en estamos todos ahí juntos.
Well, the victim said that I was behind her and I touched her, but it wasn't possible because we were all together. My daughter was right there, and
Y entonces es donde ella pasó eso, como pasó eso, todo el tiempo estaban juntas, eso y yo no me estaba en la cabeza.
So that's the discrepancies, because they say that happens, but the two girls were together all the time.
Okay, what does he have to say about the fact that, right, he said he touched? What, he kind of used his hand, so I'm assuming he thinks he touched with his hand, is that correct?
Yeah, so usted cuando dijo que tocó, ¿no es cierto? Tocó a la niña. So usted se está identificando que tocó con la mano o con qué tocó.
Yo le dije a mi abogado que sí la toqué jugando a la pelota con la mano en la pierna.
I told my attorney though, I touched her with the hand, just playing soccer, right?
Sí, entonces usted sacó otra versión y eso de...
¿Cómo?
Ella sacó la versión esa de ahí, entonces pues yo que estaba peleando. Y entonces ya no quise seguir porque el abogado me dijo que pues mejor ya no siquiera porque a lo mejor las cosas se van a poner peor y no van a enojar. Y entonces mejor dejé el caso.
So ¿quién sacó las cosas de ahí? ¿La muchachita?
Pues sí, entonces mi hija y ella ellos se hicieron que hicieran la verdadera mentira. Entonces mi hija completamente rápido contestó y ella, video, y ella tardó.
They did a sort of investigation with the two girls, and they asked my daughter, they asked the other
Oh, we don't
girl.
say the name.
Okay, so there was
Ask the victim.
Okay, so as victim, la víctima entonces le dijo a usted que le dijo que no siguiera entonces el abogado. Yeah, so then after that happened, the victim took part of the story to tell other stories, so that's why at that point what the attorney said to him not continue with the case and just take the plea.
And is he, when he's talking about this, is he talking about the case that was from 2001 or the case that was from 2018?
¿Usted está hablando cuando está hablando de esto del caso del 2001 o del 2018?
Desde 2018.
2018.
Okay. And Lieutenant Allen, in the situation that you were describing where he rubbed his penis against the leg, was that the 2018 case or the 2001 case?
That was the most recent case in 2018.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, it's reported to be at the inside a residence while the victim was sleeping, waking up to Mr. Vera Segura touching her vagina.
Estaba tocando la vagina.
Okay, thank you.
I have no further questions about his offense. Does anyone?
No. Okay. So now we'd like to discuss his treatment.
So ahora queremos discutir el tratamiento, ¿ok?
So on his application, he does state that he is in treatment at SOT.
Ha declarado que está en tratamiento en este momento en lo que se llama SOT. Yes.
Okay, and he's been attending treatment since February of 2024, is that correct?
Y usted ha estado yendo a tratamiento desde febrero del 2024, ¿correcto? Sí. Yes.
Okay. Can he tell us what he's learned in that treatment?
¿Nos puede decir qué es lo que usted ha aprendido en este tratamiento?
Sí, claro, bastante, o sea, me he abierto a ver la vida diferente y a...
I have learned to see life in a different manner.
Como ejemplo, a saber controlar mis impulsos.
I learned how to control my impulses.
Como otra cosa que puedo hacer, como pensar dos veces antes de hacer las cosas.
Also, think twice before you do something.
Como por ejemplo,
For example.
La última, yo lo cuidaba cada semana.
¿Cómo?
La víctima yo lo cuidaba cada semana. Entonces yo ya no cuidaría a uno más que no fuera, pues, ser responsable.
Okay, so what happened with the victim, the last victim, I was also babysitting for that victim every week. So other thing that I kind of restraining is not to do that kind of taking care of other people.
Y pues sí, la nuestra, pues las tareas tratamos de hacerlas, pero a veces no consideramos bien con las preguntas, pero ella nos corrige y está bien porque nos hace...
No entiendo lo que está diciendo.
O sea que la manita que nos da la clase.
Oh,
Ajá, nos corrige a compartir con las tareas. Y eso me hace una vida diferente, o sea, como con más respeto y con más cuidado.
¿La maestra de qué?
¿De clases?
¿De qué clase?
La clase que nos están dando, eso es lo que significa, ¿no?
So you, yeah, okay, so it's a person, a treatment, a therapist who is giving the class and the education. So she's helping us, she gives us some questions and we answer, and then when they, they're not correct, she kind of go over and kind of teach us how to manage ourselves in life.
Okay. So, what would be his triggers that he's learned he's got there from going to treatment?
En el tratamiento, ¿qué ha aprendido usted que son sus puntos que le provoca hacer lo que hace?
Pues, por ejemplo, ¿se refiere como estar solo con alguien o...?
You mean like be alone with somebody?
Well, I mean, sometimes there's things like maybe that could be a trigger, that he shouldn't be alone with young girls.
Yeah, a lo mejor eso puede ser una de las cosas que va a motivar eso, no estar sola con una muchachita, digamos, muy joven.
Pues exactamente eso es lo que nos ha dejado a estar lejos de riesgos. O ejemplo como otro, como yo, pues mi vida me ha cambiado. Ya como ir a los parques o donde hay muchos niños y eso, yo no sé también si van a ir, pero yo ya pienso dejarme de cosas para...
So one of the things that I learned in the treatment is to stay away from situations that put me in risk. Other things, and they got me to take the decision is not to go to the park where it's a lot of minors. I don't know if it's something that you guys are going to say not to do, but regardless, it's one of my decisions.
Is his treatment, is it a group or is it one-on-one?
¿El tratamiento es en grupo o es de uno a uno?
Ese grupo.
Es a group.
And is his group conducted in Spanish or English?
¿Está en español o en inglés?
Es en español.
Spanish.
So the entire group, everyone
So
speaks
todo el grupo habla
Spanish?
español.
Sí, y me gusta porque compartimos tareas y ejemplo, preguntas o las respuestas las corregimos unos con otros.
Yeah, they do. And one of the things that I like about that group is that we are able to interact with each other in regards of the questions and kind of, resolve the problem together. It's a good feeling.
Okay. And is that group take place in Milwaukee?
¿Este grupo es en Milwaukee?
Pero hacemos videollamada.
Yes, but we do over Zoom.
So it's not in person.
So no está en persona.
Sí, todos lo hacemos por videollamada.
Yeah, everything is via video.
Oh, okay. Right. Any questions regarding his treatment?
Preguntas acerca del tratamiento.
Okay.
How often does he go to the group?
¿Con qué frecuencia usted tiene esta interacción de grupo?
Pues cada miércoles.
It's every Wednesday.
Por ejemplo, hoy pues se alcanzó a llegar es de 5 a 7.
Yeah. Today, perhaps, it's from 5 to 7, so I'm probably able to do that.
Okay. All right. And is he currently working
¿Está trabajando en este momento? Yes.
at?
¿A dónde?
En Chilton. Chilton.
Chilton. ¿Cómo se llama el lugar?
Worthington.
¿Ah?
Worthington. Industrias.
Okay, es
Worthington.
Worthington Industries.
Yeah. What does he do
¿Qué
there?
es lo que hace ahí?
Bueno, pues yo soy operador de máquinas y se hacen antorchas o sopletes para los que usan los plomeros para soldar.
Yeah. We use whatever the plumbers used to do welding.
Antorchas.
We make the torch, I don't know how you call that part, but whatever they used to weld.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. And so he's currently living at 1704 South Ashland and is requesting to move to 761 Abrams Street. Why is that?
Usted está viviendo entonces en la 17 de Ashland y se quiere mover hasta la otra calle, ¿no? ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué ha pedido cambiar de domicilio?
Ahorita,
Right now?
I mean, ¿estás hablando de un hotel?
So you talk about the hotel?
Oh, is 1704 that a hotel?
1704 Ashland en un hotel?
Si es que me pidieron que me quedara allá
But they asked,
pues, para esperar para la reunión aquí.
I was asked to stay there till this meeting took place.
So where was he staying before
So,
the hotel?
antes del hotel, ¿dónde estaba usted?
O en la 761 Abrams.
761, 761 Abrams.
Oh. So did the police come and warn you that you couldn't stay there without permission?
O sea, la policía vino y le dijo que usted no podía estar ahí a no ser que tenga permitido.
Lo que pasa es que fue un error de emergencia que pues yo no sabía y nadie me dijo nada. Hasta ahora me dijeron que tenía que venir a pedir permiso a la ciudad. Y pues fue todo tan rápido que apenas me avisaron así como 3 semanas. Yo no sabía que sí sea al principio.
At the beginning, I wasn't aware that I wasn't permitted to be there. So my agent told me 3 weeks ago. So it was everything got so fast. So.
Okay. And who is it that he lives with right now?
¿Con quién vive usted en este momento?
Mis padres.
My parents.
Parents? Okay. Okay. Did he complete the application himself or did somebody else complete that for him?
¿Usted completó la aplicación solo o alguien la hizo para usted?
Aplicación para.
What application? Para
This
venir
one.
acá.
¿O esa?
Heidi, I believe it was his agent.
His agent?
La
Okay.
gente.
I received it from her.
Sí.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I just kind of want to go back quickly to his offense. And on the application, it says, how do you feel this sexual crime affected your victim?
¿Cómo piensa que el crimen que hizo usted sexual le afectó a la víctima?
Pues yo pienso que mental, moralmente y psicológicamente, porque pues la vida cambia para ellos, para nosotros y para todos. A mí también.
I think mentally and psychologically, I think that could make their life to change. I know my life has changed, and I'm sure their life.
He's what in life?
His life has changed, he says, so does the victim's life.
Yeah. Okay.
How long had he lived at 761 Abrams Street prior to this hotel?
Antes de vivir en hotel, ¿cuánto ha vivido usted en la calle de 761?
Tengo allí más de 6 años.
I've been there more than 6 years.
6 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
It has been a while, yes.
Okay. All right. Any other questions from anyone else?
¿La pregunta de otra persona?
None here.
Okay. Is there, anyone want to have any discussion before?
No, alguien quiere.
So I have some concerns about how honest he was about
Tengo alguna
what
preocupación,
Yeah.
dice,
But I
acerca de la
think
honestidad.
it could be a language
Puede
barrier.
ser
That's what I'm
lenguaje.
concerned about, that there is the language barrier.
Puede ser por el lenguaje.
Responsibility, yet he's been at this address for 6 years.
Estaba ahí por 6 años esa dirección.
Are we sure that there hasn't been any other issues at the address?
Well, so in his packet, we would list all the other crimes that he has had.
Que tiene todo el-
And he's only,
Okay.
yeah,
Thank you.
yep,
I don't think I've ever thought to ask.
I'm
yep.
inclined to approve.
Dice, alguien que esté cuidado.
Since he's already been living there, I'm
For
inclined
quite
to
some
approve
time?
too.
Okay,
He has support there.
And I think it's a risk reduction for him to return to living with his parents. I think it's.
okay. So there's there a motion?
Move to approve, address specific.
Is there a second?
I
second
I second to approve address specific.
All in favor? Aye?
Todo el favor, entonces, ¿ok?
All right. He is approved to reside at that address. If he does decide to move from that address, he will need to come back before the board if it's still within the city limits.
Ok, usted está aprobado entonces a volver a esa dirección, ¿ok? Si usted decide mudarse de esa dirección, tiene que venir entonces, si va a ser en los límites de la ciudad, otra vez.
Tiene que decir que gracias y quiero que sepan que les juro que no es un problema para donde estoy viendo y para la ciudad. Si tuve ese error,
Okay, so I just want to thank you, and I just want to reassure you that I'm not a problem for the community, and that it was a mistake that happened, and that's
Okay. Thank you.
Good luck.
Gracias.
Yeah.
Buena suerte. Okay.
All right. The next appeal is Manuel Hernandez Cisnero. Mario, I guess you're staying.
I'm saying, I'm saying.
Yeah.
Mario.
All right. Okay, so Manuel, you were supposed to be here last month, but
Tenía que venir
you
el
forgot the
que viene,
meeting?
Pero se olvidó.
No, my girlfriend.
Your girlfriend forgot the meeting.
Se olvidó.
Vino el teléfono
Uh-huh.
y no sonó.
Oh, she put him in the phone, and the phone didn't alert them that it was a meeting.
Okay, all right. So, as you heard earlier, we're going to ask you to tell us what you were convicted and arrested for. Again, please don't speak of the victim by name or relationship,
Diga el nombre de la víctima ni su relación con la víctima, ¿ok?
and be as specific as possible.
Sea lo más específico posible, ¿ok?
Okay, go ahead.
Adelante.
Yeah, you tell us what happened.
Díganos qué pasó.
Bueno, lo que pasó es que yo estaba en la casa
I was home, yeah,
con mi mujer.
with my girl.
Ayer se ve sangró. I don't know. Ya estoy.
¿Cómo?
La toqué.
¿A quién?
A la grúa, a la muchacha esta.
Ok, so usted estaba en la casa con su esposa. ¿Ok?
Ya. Y la hija,
Ah, ok.
la toqué.
Mhm. So I was home with my wife, and then I touched her daughter.
And did that happen in 1986 or 1993?
¿Qué pasó en el 86 o el 93?
La verdad que hace mucho tiempo que ya lo olvidé.
Truly, it's a long time ago, and I forgot.
Okay.
Because he has been convicted of 2 separate offenses, so we really need to know about each
Porque son
offense.
dos ofensas que usted ha sido juzgado por eso, ¿cierto? Separadas. O queremos saber cuál es cuál.
No,
¿El 86?
en el 86. Yo sé que a una la toqué,
¿Cómo que la tocaste?
sí la toqué, pero tú sabes.
No. Okay. All I know that one incident was where I touched the girl in her private area.
One time,
¿Una sola vez?
One time. And then me acusaron otra vez porque toqué a la misma muchacha cuando no vivía allá.
And then I got another accusation that I touched the same girl, but she didn't live there.
Okay. All right. Lieutenant Allen, do you have those criminal complaints from that time frame?
Tiene la denuncia de ese día.
What?
Yes, I do.
Policía.
Okay, could you tell us first about the 1986 case?
Puede corroborar el caso de 1986.
So it does not look like I have a criminal complaint for 1986. I have 94 CF 85. That was the only one that I have. I do not have the 86 criminal
Tiene el
complaint in front of me.
86.
Okay, that's okay. Can you tell us about the 94
Bueno,
case?
el 94.
Sure. So it sounds like
Parece que dice,
a female had gone over to a friend's house to play with their young son, and that was the home of the defendant. And while they were there, it was reported that the defendant had made her touch his penis.
le hizo que
And-
tocara la parte privada.
And then she reports it onto her parent, or to her mom, and that's how the situation transpired.
Okay.
thank you. Based on what the lieutenant said, does he agree with
Basado en lo que
that?
dijo el oficial, ¿usted está de acuerdo con eso?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So in that case, did he go to prison? Did he serve prison
So, ¿fue a la
time?
prisión?
Fallé.
¿Ah?
Fallé.
5 years.
5 years. Is it because during that time frame he was revoked from his
¿Es
probation?
porque la aprobación usted se la revocaron?
No.
No.
Fue la revolqué yo.
Ajá.
Yo me revolqué con el probation.
Yeah, it was revoked by probation.
Yeah, why was it revoked?
¿Por qué estaba revocada?
Bueno, estaba rebuscando, me revolqué, porque no me gustaba,
¿Cómo?
no me gustaba.
¿No me gustaba qué?
Estaba con aprovecho, lloviendo, con la nieve, tenía que venir a buscarla, ¿me entiendes? Y no quería eso, no podía, no tenía carro, no tenía nada.
So at that time, you know, I was tired to do what I have to do. I had to come this way, whether it was rainy or snowing, and I didn't have a car. ¿Y dejó de venir entonces?
No, yo cumplí con todo.
I did everything that I was asked to do.
Desde cumplí aquí mismo. Y la muchacha que da mi provecho, tengo entendido que era hasta policía, no recuerdo el nombre, que era hasta policía. Pero cometí un error con ella, porque me fui tenía 2 teléfonos y me saqué aburrido, cansado, no tenía nada que hacer, no hablaba con nadie, me saqué fotos de mi parte.
So yeah, the probation officer was a lady, she's a police lady, and I made a mistake because I have an extra phone and I was, you know, bored. I had nobody to talk. I was doing nothing, and I took pictures of my private area with the phone.
And what did he do with those
¿Y qué es lo que
pictures?
hizo con las
Los teléfonos, ni sé qué me pasaron los teléfonos.
Pero ella lo vio entonces, ella vio las fotos.
Tenía que haberlo visto porque me provocó, me revolcó.
And I don't know what happened with the phone, but I assume that she saw the pictures and that's why it caused the revocation.
Okay. If we want to talk about treatment, does he wish to stay in closed session or go in closed session or?
Si vamos a hablar de tratamiento, ¿usted quiere entonces, le parece que está así como habló el otro señor público o quiere que esté en privado?
¿De qué?
Hablar del tratamiento.
¿Cuál tratamiento?
What treatment?
Well, he said on his application that he received SOT2 treatment in 1997.
Usted dijo que en el 97 recibió tratamiento, ¿no es cierto?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay,
Ese
so
tratamiento.
we want to know about that
Queremos
training.
saber
There's no
acerca de eso.
documentation.
Recibí uno por 1 year.
Yeah, I received one for 1 year.
You went and did treatment 1
Por
year?
un año.
Yes.
I'm
For 1
sorry,
year.
there's an email from his agent with some details in
Okay,
there
so
from
ella
Jennifer
está
Wilson.
recibiendo un correo del
Oh,
agente
yeah.
con los detalles del tratamiento. Okay.
Y lo pagó en migración.
Said he worked on it just in.
Yeah. Okay. Does he know what he learned in treatment?
¿Usted qué aprendió en tratamiento?
Yo aprendí a hacer jugo ahí
¿Qué?
No. Eso fue lo que aprendí. Hacer por ahí en Raidao. Respeto, amor.
So, I learned who I am now. I learned respect, love,
Ser bondad para todo el mundo. Copio a everybody. ¿Me entiendes?
no,
Que le ayude a todo el mundo.
to help everybody that I'm able to.
Where did he take that treatment at?
¿A dónde tomó el tratamiento usted?
En una cárcel.
In jail.
En una cárcel.
In jail, yeah.
Una en la cárcel y otra fue aquí.
One in jail and then one here.
OCOD, así que se llama.
Yeah. Is that,
Yeah. Do you guys have anything on that you want to ask him?
No.
Okay. Okay.
So where is he living now versus, so where are you living now and why do you want to move?
so, ¿dónde vive ahora y por qué usted se quiere
ma'am.
mudar?
Yo vivo right now en la religión,
I just tried to answer that question, Brian.
inmenso.
Our address is 1651 East Mason.
1651 East Mason.
How many years has he lived there?
¿Cuántos años ha vivido ahí?
No,
We lived there for about 4 months. We
4
just
meses.
moved in.
4 months, yes.
Vivía en otra parte,
I live in another place,
pero no quisieron que viviera ahí. No quisieron porque a una cuadra después de mí, o ante mí, estaba el centro infantil.
okay, so I wasn't able to reside there because a block from wherever I was, it was a kid's place. Creo que era de infantil, una guardería.
Take care.
No centro
Ah,
infantil.
yeah, daycare.
Ok.
Okay. I agree with that answer? Okay. So before we kind of talk about where we might go with a vote or whatever, I do want to tell you that I am kind of concerned about allowing you to reside in the city.
Permitir vivir aquí en la ciudad.
I understand your offenses are quite old.
Sus ofensas son bien.
However, you have failed to register as a sex offender on 2 separate occasions, and as recently as 2023.
Recientemente en 2023.
So why would that be that you choose to not
¿Por
register?
qué usted escogió no registrarse?
Yo era joven,
¿Qué?
joven. No tenía donde vivir.
Oh, I was homeless.
Vivía en la calle, no teléfono, no dinero, no
I
nada.
didn't have money, phone, I live in the streets.
Y con la nieve, con el frío,
You know, with the snow, with the cold,
con hambre,
hungry,
con todo,
with everything.
sin la ayuda de nadie.
Nobody's helping me.
But he was on probation during that time frame. He was placed on probation for 3 years.
Pero usted se lo puso en probación por 3 años, ¿correcto? En ese periodo.
And
No.
so your agent didn't
So-
tell you like you should be
La gente
registering?
no le dijo a usted que tenía que registrarse.
Ahora no estoy registrando porque tengo donde vivir.
No, no. Ella le pregunta si no le dijo anteriormente. He said, I'm registering right now because I do have a residence where to live.
Right, but in 2023, he didn't. He
Pero
failed to
2023,
notify
si
them.
usted no se falló en notificar eso,
Bueno, le voy a repetir lo que le dije. Que dormía en la calle, no tenía paradero.
so I'm going to say again, you know, I was sleeping in the street.
¿Cómo iba a reportar? Sin dinero, sin comida, sin donde vivir.
So how I was going to report that, you know, I didn't have money, I didn't have a place to live, and I didn't have food to eat.
Más bien tuve que pagar mucho dinero porque la policía venía toda la noche y donde quiera que me metía a dormir era private.
Yeah, so I mean, in fact, I ended up paying a lot of fines because wherever I tried to go to sleep, the police will find me and then they find me, so it was private.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions for him
Además, tiene
or
preguntas al
would
señor.
entertain any discussion about a vote?
None here.
Is there anyone that wants to make a motion?
¿Alguien quiere hacer promoción por este caso?
I'll just say I'm not comfortable with it.
No,
Just,
yes, yeah.
again, I understand that his offenses are old. I'm not sure that he even realizes what occurred back at that time frame. I have the concern about him failing to register. There are plenty of people who are homeless that still register, so I don't take that as an excuse, but that's just my opinion.
Sí, esa es mi
It
opinión.
happened 40 years ago, so
Esto
I'm
pasó 40
Yeah.
años atrás.
torn about that as well. It's been so long.
And I'm thinking of it as kind of, it's a risk reduction for him to be at least housed somewhere, you know, instead of being homeless on the street, that's what I would worry about more. At least we would know where he's at.
Sure.
No relación. La relación para impedirlo.
Does anyone want to make a vote? A motion, I mean? Before we make a motion, does he have anybody that wants to speak on his behalf that's signed up?
¿Tiene
I
alguien que quiere
didn't
hablar?
sign, I didn't sign up.
Ella no firmó. Bueno,
Does she
I'm
have to sign
trying to
up?
leave paper trail.
pues.
Do you want to speak on his behalf?
I would like to.
Okay,
Sí.
please step forward. You'll need to state your name and address for the record.
Diga el nombre y la dirección para el récord.
My name is Stephanie
Llama
Gerard.
usted,
My address is
Direcciones.
1651 East
651
Mason.
East Mason.
I I've been living with Manny for the last 5 years.
Por los últimos 5 años.
Manny is still paying rent on our apartment. The rent on our apartment is $1,250
Son 1,250
a month. That's
por mes.
$1,250 a month.
150
We both live on Social
Los dos
Security
vivimos de seguro
disability,
social,
so we each
disabilidad.
have to pay half of it
So,
to
todo
afford
que
it.
tenemos-
I would just like Manny to come home. This isn't fair, this isn't right, there's no
Cada vez
reason
dice
for any of
que
this.
ese no hay razón
It
para
was
que no
40
venga
years
para
ago,
acá.
as
Esto
he
pasó
said.
40 años atrás.
I just want Manny to come home, thank you.
Quiero que él vaya a casa.
Good with that. Do you need her spell name? Okay. All right, thank you.
Gracias.
No me meto con nadie.
Is there a vote,
No.
anybody?
Ni molesto.
I'll motion that we approve for 1651 East
Sí,
Mason Street,
está,
number
esa es
3,
la moción que
address
hace de aprobarlo
specific.
para que viva la 16.
I will second the motion.
Yeah.
1651 East Mason Street, apartment 3, address.
Apartamento 3,
All in favor? Aye.
que también son
Aye.
favores.
Opposed?
Nay.
Opposed.
Pues,
So you are approved, right? There was 3-2?
está aprobado entonces, ¿ok?
Yep.
Puede ir a vivir.
So if you decide to move from that East Mason address, you will need to come back before us.
Volver acá otra vez, ¿ok?
Pero quiero decirle
I want to
algo.
say something, I want to say something.
Que el aprovecho mía no, la jefa la aprovecho porque se encuentra en este momento de día aquí. Oiga, le gusta discriminar mucho.
I just want to say that, you know, I feel discriminated by the probation officer.
Tell her.
Sorry you feel
Dígale a
that
ella,
way.
dígale.
Yo cometí, o sea, Stephanie, cometí el error que cometí.
I made a mistake, you know.
No niego.
I didn't, don't deny that, you know.
He's approved to live at the
Usted
address.
está aprobado para que vaya a vivir con ella, ¿ok? Ya,
Porque él me dijo a mí que no.
Manny, they're letting you come home. Come
No,
home,
no,
you
I
can
have,
stay
the
home.
probation
No,
officer
no,
say it was not going to happen, but, you know.
Y a veces quisiera verla y a veces no. Porque para ella, hoy habla de cárcel, de cárcel. Yo le tengo miedo a la cárcel.
So the probation officer always talks to me about jail time, jail and jail. Now, I'm not afraid to be in jail, you know, but sometimes I feel like, you know, meeting her, sometimes I don't want to see her.
We have a lot more cases to get to.
Yeah,
so-
that's something
Tiene
he'll
otro
have to
caso
take
para
up
que
with
siga, ok, so
probation.
Tienen que hablar con la señora probation. Terminamos ya, ¿ok?
Okay.
Bye.
All right, thank you.
Gracias.
The next appeal is of Michael
Hey,
Patrick Will,
Thank you.
yes.
I just wanted to say thank you to all of you. Thank
Okay.
you.
Appeal of Michael Patrick William Tobin. Come forward, please. Or Michael is requesting to move to 532 Bader Street.
Potentially.
Pardon me?
Potentially, yeah. Potentially?
Potentially, yes. Okay, so this is your first time appearing before the board, correct? All right, so as you've heard us state to everybody that we'll ask you what you were convicted of and arrested for, and when you talk about that, please don't state the victim by name or relationship. But I do just want to ask, before we get started on that, where you currently are residing.
In Wausau, Wisconsin.
Wausau?
Yep.
And why Wausau?
That's where I'm from. It's where my mom lives. I live with my mother at the moment.
All right.
Why do you desire moving?
I'm sorry?
Why are you desiring to move?
Just for new opportunities. Put myself in a different atmosphere.
All right, so you can go ahead and tell us what you were arrested and convicted for.
I was arrested for child enticement with exposure. I'm a hairdresser, and I did a wax on a 16-year-old and manipulated his penis while I was doing the wax. I thought he had permission from his parents to have the wax, and he did not. I found out a week later he did not have permission.
Do they have to sign a permission slip, or would you have documentation on that?
If they're underage, because it's a negative
Yeah.
wax, like a Brazilian.
But I'm saying, is the parent required to fill out a form that you would have on file at the salon?
Yes. And I gave it to him, he took it home, he came back, and when he came in, I was running late, which isn't an excuse, but I was like, okay, He's like, it's in the car, so I was like, we'll get your appointment done for you, I'll bring you out, you can go to the car and grab it. I went to the car and grabbed it, and he said, I forgot it on the counter. So I was like, okay, we'll just bring it back next time, and then we'll go from there. And then I was arrested a week later.
Okay. And so you're doing this wax, and you say you manipulate him.
My
Like,
hands were in his penis.
just like, you just touched it, did you,
Touched, groped, a little bit of both.
and what did the victim do?
Nothing. I mean, we finished his wax. He came out, I checked him out, and he left.
Okay. And so then the police show up at your house, and what happens?
They told me that I was getting arrested for sexual assault of a minor, which was taken off, and then the exposure was added, or put in, child enticement, I mean, was put in instead of that, because we were in a room with a closed door. Apparently if the door was open, we would have been fine, but you can't do a wax with the door closed or open.
Okay. Lieutenant Allen, do you have, I think that case is from Marathon?
Yeah.
I do have that case.
Oh.
Sounds like, yep. Sounds like the defendant had been providing some sort of service to this victim, according to the criminal complaint, since he was 6 or 7 years old. The victim's now 16 years old. The defendant commented to him that that the hair comes off a lot easier when the penis is erect. So he manually stimulated the 16-year-old until the 16-year-old became erect. And that's how this whole thing transpired.
Does that sound correct? Okay. You just failed to tell us those last parts.
Oh, I manipulated it.
Yeah. And what does he mean by you've been providing services to them since they were 6 or 7 years old? Like
I've been
just-
doing their hair for the whole family, like their whole families, said for like
Okay.
10, 15 years.
Okay, all right. Does anyone have questions regarding his offense? Okay. As far as treatment, we have the opportunity to do that in closed session or remain in public session. Do you have a preference?
Either or.
Okay, so you are or have done,
I have done.
you've completed it?
Yep. I believe you have
Yep.
a copy. I
And
have
where did you do that at?
another, New Lisbon.
New Lisbon. And how long was that course?
I want to say 11 months?
I have the certificate, but I don't
6 to 8 months? I'm not
Yeah, I just have the
on there.
completion, I don't see 11 months.
Yeah, I just have the completion too.
So you just recently completed that. You got out of prison at the end of April, right?
Actually, yep. I
Okay.
got out April
29.
29th.
Okay. And how often did you meet for SOT?
Twice a week.
Times a week? For how long? Like
It depends
hours?
on the day. Sometimes it was 3 hours, sometimes it was 4.
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty intense.
All right. So tell us what you learned.
I feel like everybody should have SOT, even if they're not a sex offender. It kind of changed my life. It really opened my eyes about boundaries and permission, obviously. The class I took in New Lisbon versus the classes I've taken outside prior to going to prison, I feel like the instructor was 100 times better than I had on the streets. And I learned a lot from her. She really opened my eyes about myself and the way I interact with other people.
So did you take SOT prior to going to prison?
I took it 3 times prior to prison. I kept getting, I'm notoriously for being late. I kept getting kicked out for being late. So when I got revocated, my PO said, like, the revocation was for me to get SOT, like, to finally get it completed.
That's why she revoked you, because you were always late for class?
No, I was actually revoked for driving without an intoxicant in my car.
Without the intoxilizer?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Where did you take the treatment at before you went to prison at?
In Marathon County.
Okay, so I kind of want to go over a little of your timeline here for, so in 2016, you were convicted of the child enticement.
Yes.
And you were sentenced, is it 3 years in and 3 years out?
Correct.
So that would have brought you to 2019. And then in 2019, you get released
Oh, from jail?
from prison. You got released from prison?
I just got released from prison last night.
Okay, well, that's why I'm trying to follow your timeline.
Oh,
Because
okay.
if did you get 3 years initial confinement?
First I got probation. I got 5 years probation.
Okay,
And then I was revoked on probation, and then I went to prison for 3 years. And then, now I'm here.
okay, that's
Sorry
why I
about-
needed to follow the timeline. Okay, thank you.
Question?
I have another question.
Yep.
There sounds like there's a second offense here. and I
It
don't
is
think
my
we've
second
talked about
offense.
that.
My first offense, I can't remember what year, I was 30. I was 30 or 31. I had a sexual act with an unconscious victim. I gave fellatio to my friend's husband while we were really drunk. Stupid mistake.
And you were how old?
31.
And the victim was also 30?
31. Yep,
Okay.
we were the same age, so 30 or 31.
Okay. Okay.
How much time did you get for that charge?
For the first one?
Yeah.
I did probation for 3 years, possibly. And my probation was revoked for the new charge. No, it was 5 years, something like that.
And has your agent approved you to transfer to Brown County?
Yes.
If it's approved?
Yes.
Okay. And what would you do for work?
I'm 100% not sure. I have been kind of like Googling and seeing what you guys have to offer. Nothing's set in stone. I've been a hairdresser for well over 20 years. I'm not sure if I'm going to go back into doing hair. It's something I love to do. It's like my passion. But I let my license lapse while I was in prison, so I have to requalify for them. And in order to requalify, I have to show them all of this. So I'm not sure if I will get my license back or not.
Okay.
I'm not holding my breath, which is my own fault. But after that, I just apply everywhere, I guess.
So your license lapsed while you were in prison, and it
Yes.
wasn't taken away from you because of the offense?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Nope.
Thank
I
you.
just let it lapse while I was there.
Thank you.
And who do you plan to live with here?
She's my adopted sister Marie and her daughter Kat. For now, until I would find something of my own.
Anybody have any other questions? Yeah, any discussion?
Shouldn't anybody speaking for himself?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Do you have anybody that wants to speak on your behalf?
You want to talk? We do have one.
I just want you to know that.
You just, first, before you have to state your name and your address for the record,
Okay,
please.
Marie Justice.
I think she did fill out the form.
Ah, okay, go ahead then.
He'll be living with me and my daughter. My daughter will be 23 in July. So there's no people around or anything like that for him to, and I told him that when he's with me, I'll be making sure he's doing what he's supposed to do. So,
Okay,
okay?
all right, thank you. Oh, are you also coming up to speak?
Yes, please.
Okay. Again, name and address for the record, please.
I'm Peggy Tobin, Tobin, 207 North 2nd Avenue, Wausau. Wisconsin. Michael's my son. He's been my caregiver before he went to New Lisbon.
It's another one of my
And since he's been home. If he stays home, he's gonna reapply to do it. And he could also help Marie. And I don't think he's guilty of what they charged him with, but he's gay. And he's a good guy.
Okay, thank you. Well,
I accept my responsibility for what I did,
yes, thank you.
just so we know. So it's very clear. I know what I did was wrong.
Yeah. So I will be honest, I typically do not like to allow people who have committed offenses in other counties to move to Brown County. You know, we have our own sex offenders that have been convicted in this area that have to find housing, and I think it's very difficult for them. So I typically, I really don't like to approve people to come in here, right? So that's kind of where I feel and stand kind of right now, but obviously we have another board here.
I agree. Nice enough guy. I think he'd probably be okay, but we have enough problems with the housing and people that we have here from this county.
All right.
I think that I would feel a little better if you had a job and, you know, some kind of more security like that instead of, so.
That makes sense.
I own my home, I wouldn't have anybody
We're,
else.
the floor is closed right now. If the board would like to reopen, they certainly can consider that, but we're closed right now. Thank you.
I mean, do you guys have a feeling, or does somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to deny.
We'll second the motion to deny.
Okay. All in favor to deny? Aye?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Is that a 5-0?
Yeah.
Okay. So at this time, you are denied. You kind of heard some of our reasoning. So that does not mean that you cannot come back and apply.
There's a time limit between now and then, right? That I can apply again?
No, you could come back next month if you needed to, if, one, you know, someone's asking you to have a job. So I don't know what the others, reasons are, but, those are things to consider to come back.
Okay.
Okay?
Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for your time.
All right, next on the agenda is the appeal of Stephen Gittens requesting to move to 1205 Brosick Street, number 4. Hello? Hi.
I'm Sean Lenahan, I'm his attorney. I've been through this process a couple of times in the past, but I don't think I'm on the forms. I don't know, maybe I'm on the forms. He filled the forms out, so I'm not sure. But
This is, you legally represent him?
yes,
Correct, okay.
and it's spelled S-E-A-N, and the last name is Linnane, L-I-N-N-A-N.
Okay, I'm sorry, could you do that one more?
Sure, it's Sean, S-E-A-N, and the last name is Linnane, L-I-N-N-A-N.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Sure.
Okay. Mr. Gittens, you have been here before the board several times before.
Yes.
Does the board need him to go over his offenses?
I would like that because I'm new to the board.
Okay. All right, so we're going to ask you to go over your offenses, what you were arrested and convicted of. And then, remember, don't state the victim by name or relationship. Once you're done explaining that, we will confirm with Lieutenant Allen from the Green Bay Police Department that what you're telling us is the accurate story. Okay?
Okay.
Go ahead.
I was arrested for child enticement. I was placed on probation for 4 years. I successfully completed probation. The charge resulted in a response to someone that replied to an ad that I had on Craigslist. They stated that they were
15 years old, and asked me if it was okay to, if it's okay if I would talk to a 15-year-old. I said yes, but this was a sting operation, so there was actually no victim. It was an undercover agent at the time. That's basically how it went down.
And you were how old when you responded to that ad?
This was 11 years ago, so I'm 59 now. I was probably 48, 49 years old.
Okay. And then, knowing that a 15-year-old was going to come to meet you, what was your intentions?
Just to talk.
Just to talk?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. And Lieutenant Allen, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. Do you want him to go over his treatment, or?
Sure.
Okay, so if we want to discuss, we do want to discuss your treatment. You have the opportunity to do that in closed session, or we would remain in public session. Do you have a preference?
No.
Okay, then we'll remain in public session. Okay. So can you tell us what kind of treatment you've gone through?
Sure. I had sex offender treatment with Portland Atkins. It was a 6-month course that I completed successfully. We went over triggers and stuff like that. I remember something like behaviors, and it was 11 years ago, so I'm just trying to remember what we went through.
And you did the treatment 11 years ago?
Yes.
Okay, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. You good?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
And so, are you still working at Monroe Truck?
Yes, I just started there a month ago.
Okay, and what do you do there?
I'm a chase driver, and what that is if Monroe Truck has a truck that they need delivered that requires a CDL driver, that driver takes the truck to where it has to go. I follow the truck and that driver there, and I bring the driver back.
Okay. Is that full-time?
No, it's part-time.
Okay.
20 to 25 hours a week.
Okay.
I'm on disability, so I'm only allowed to work so many hours.
Sure. Okay. So,
I'd do that job full-time in a heartbeat. Yeah, definitely.
So the last time that we saw you was back in 2022 when we granted you to live at Badger Street. And at that time, it was, you were looking to move to that address because you and your girlfriend had wanted to take a break, right?
Right.
So how come you want to move now to this Brosig Street address?
Because the girl I was dating sold her house on the east side of Green Bay. We're just friends now, so we're always going to be a part of each other's life, just because of how tight we are and stuff like that. So we just can't live together, I guess. That's what she says. So.
Sure.
But yeah, she sold the house, and so now I'm kind of bouncing around because of the restrictions and stuff like that. So I found this apartment on Brosig Street with Vantage Point Property Management Group. They're willing to rent to me and give me a chance. So I feel as though it's a good fit. I haven't reoffended or nothing like that. I kept my nose out of trouble, and I stayed clean from anything, and it's going to remain that way.
Can I interject?
Yes.
So one of the other issues at the Badger Street apartment building was they had a pretty rough clientele there, and he had contacted the police multiple times with drug sales going on and vandalism and things, and there was so much friction. I just said, look, you don't want to be in a position where you're fighting the neighborhood,
Right.
So that had a lot to do with it.
It's part of my lungs too, the stuff that they were doing. I mean, was coming in my apartment daily, almost daily.
Okay.
So
Okay,
it was just a bad environment.
sure. Okay, well, I'm just gonna kind of speak freely. I've probably been present for every time you've been here before the board. I know there were a few times when you were with your past girlfriend that, you know, we denied those because it sounded like there were a lot of concerns with the neighbors at that time. But more recently, since we've approved you, I don't think there's been any issues, so I honestly don't have any concerns with you moving to this Brosick Street address. But again, we do have the rest of the board that, you know, can give their opinions.
Same.
I have no concerns.
No, I-
I move that we,
Oh, okay, hold on, what do we have?
Go ahead.
A motion?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I motion that we accept Stephen Gittens for, oops.
Yep.
Okay, 1205 Brosick Street, number 4, address specific.
Second.
All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Okay. All right, so you are good to go to that address?
Thank you.
Again, you know that if you're gonna move from there, that you need to come back to
Right.
see us.
I understand.
Okay?
All right.
All right,
Thank
good
you,
luck.
everybody.
Yep.
Thank you for taking the time to explain everything to me.
Oh, you're welcome. You're very welcome.
All right. All right, the next appeal we have is of Kim Lemeron requesting to move to 1215 North Locust Street. Kim, come forward, please.
Just for the record, I do know the applicant, so, but I feel I can be impartial.
Okay. All right. So Kim, you are currently living at 1123 Royal Boulevard and wanting to move. Why is that?
Because I'm staying with my sister, and I can only stay there so many nights a week, and I just, have to have a place on my own, so.
Okay. All right. So this is your first time coming before us?
Yes.
Okay. So really, in reality, you're staying with your sister illegally?
No, that's why I have to leave so many days a week to make it all right.
Okay.
So says my PO.
Okay. All right, so as you've heard throughout the other appeals tonight, we're going to ask you what you were arrested and convicted of. Again, please don't state the victim by name or relationship, and try to be as specific as you can.
Okay, child enticement. According to the criminal complaint, the detective acted as an undercover capacity as a 15-year-old boy on networking application for gay and bisexual men designed to help meet men in their area. On 3/24/20, the detective received a message from a user, and subsequent messages revealed that the sender was a 55-year-old. The user was later identified as Mr. Lemeron, and on 5/19/20, Mr. Lemeron solicited sexually explicit images from the 15-year-old boy, and he and the boy arranged to meet for sexual contact on the same day. Mr. Lemeron was taken into custody at a prearranged meeting location, and when questioned by law enforcement, he said he was going to meet the boy, supposedly to have sex, and knew the boy was 15 years old.
Did you just read that from your criminal complaint?
Yes.
Oh, is it because you don't remember that long ago, or why did you read it like
I
that?
have a lot of mental issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Lieutenant Allen, is that information correct?
It is correct.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Lemeron, what was your intention when you were going to meet this 15-year-old?
Quite honestly, I was going to turn around and not go meet him. In the process, I was pulled over by the police and arrested.
So you initially agree that you want to meet the boy?
Yes.
And then you are going there and then you change your mind?
Yes.
And how come? Like, why did you want to go there the first time?
That's a good question. I really can't explain that. It's nothing that ever happened to me in the past. Up to that time, I never had any desire to do anything like that. And when I was on my way there, I just I just thought, you know, I was telling myself, oh, wait, this is wrong, you know, turn around, go back. I didn't turn around fast enough.
Okay. And so, did you take it to trial?
Yes,
And what happened at trial?
I was found guilty.
And what were you sentenced to?
A year and a half in prison and 4 years probation.
Okay, so you are on probation right now?
Yes,
Are you on GPS?
yes.
Are you on GPS because you don't have a permanent residence? Like if you would be approved for this location, will the GPS be removed?
No, I just talked to my PO and she said no, because she just found out there's 2 daycare, childcare places within, I don't know how far from the residence.
Okay. Okay. Do you have a requirement that you're not allowed to have access to the internet or anything like that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry, does anyone have questions about his offense?
I do not.
Okay. We'll talk about treatment. Again, you have the option to do that in closed session, or we can remain in public session. Do you have a preference?
Oh, public is fine.
Okay. So on your application, you said you did sex offender treatment with Pablo at Hanger Enterprise.
Yes.
Correct? When did you start that?
I just went and saw him one time about 2-3 weeks ago.
Okay, but so that was really more so for the evaluation part of it, correct?
Right.
So you have not started any kind of classes?
Right.
Okay, did he say when or if treatment is needed?
Yeah, there is, and my sister got a call from my PO saying that I guess I was accepted for a program, and just found that out like an hour ago.
Okay, so we don't really know, because I know we just got email from your agent saying that if treatment is required, you'll be completing it, but that's pretty much all that it looks like we have.
There also is something here that says that he recently completed his SAT evaluation and the treatment. Oh, never mind.
That's okay.
I read it different the first time I read it.
That's okay. Yep. Okay, so really no official treatment at this point, correct?
I guess, but I mean, I'm supposed to be, you know, starting soon. I don't know when, but
Okay.
like I said, I hadn't talked to my PO. My
Okay.
sister had.
Also on your application, you checked that alcohol. So do you have a problem with alcohol?
No,
Oh, well, how come you checked it then?
I don't know. It must have been an error.
It says you go to Celebrate Recovery.
Yeah, well, Celebrate Recovery is for more than alcohol and substance abuse. It's for hurts and whatnot.
It's for what?
Hurts, whatever hurts you, and
Oh.
you know, it covers a lot more than just substance abuse.
Okay. All right. And do you work?
No, I'm not currently working. As a matter of fact, my doctor and my psychologist both think that I should go on.
SSI.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I've got a lot of mental health issues, and I can barely function, so,
Do you take medication for that?
yes.
Okay.
Yes, I have depression real bad and anxiety.
And would you say you're compliant with your medication?
What do you mean, compliant?
Like, do you take it as prescribed?
Yes.
How did you find this place to live at?
We've been looking for 5 months, and finally we found one. Don't ask me how, but yeah, we had looked for 5 months every day, night and day, and there's just nothing out there. Finally found this place, so.
Okay. And so then, without a job and without really any disability benefits at this moment, how will you pay for your apartment?
In my savings, and we're working on either getting a job or getting on disability. I think it's going to go to disability though.
Okay. Okay. All right. Anybody else have questions? Well, I guess before we entertain a vote, I just kind of, I am a little leery that you don't have any kind of treatment behind you. I mean, I understand that you did the evaluation, but I do think it's pretty important for people to experience that SOT treatment. I don't know if you heard the gentleman before, but he thinks everybody should attend it. I do think that there are some good things that people can learn from that, as to whether it's, what is your triggers, right? That's a number one concern, at least for me, is what would cause you to do that? Because if I know what's gonna cause you to do that, well, then maybe I'm not gonna approve you to live somewhere, right? Like you say you're close to 2 daycares. Maybe that's not a good location for you. So for me, treatment is very important. So I'm a little bit uncomfortable that you haven't had that yet, but that's just my opinion.
I was sent to New Lisbon specifically to get that treatment, and they didn't have it. This other guy had it after me. And then my social worker decided we'd start a program on our own, but I never completed it.
And why not?
Because I was getting shipped out.
To a different prison?
No, home.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so you got discharged from prison before you were able to complete the program you were working on?
Right.
I have some of the same concerns that you do, Heidi, but he is in treatment as far as the evaluation. He does have the opportunity to get treatment scheduled, so I'm leaning towards approval here.
I have a question more for the board.
Mm-hmm.
Can we approve with the stipulation that he goes through and completes treatment, or is that not an option that we have?
We can approve for like 60 days and have him come back.
Yeah. People have done that where, he said, you can say you'll approve it for X amount of days, and then you require, say documentation of treatment or however. But I will say that doing that, there are risks involved for him, that if we give him 60 days or even 6 months, let's just say, he's now placed that security deposit down, and if we then bring him back and we deny him, he's now lost that security deposit and is probably going to owe for the length of the lease. So there are risks that are involved with that choice. But we've done it before.
Yeah, the rent's been paid. Security deposit and 2 months rent, so.
Okay.
That's already been paid, is that what you
Yes.
said?
Okay. So is there anybody who wants to make a motion?
I move to approve address specific.
Is there a second?
I'll second to approve address specific.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed. So you are approved to live at that address. If you do decide to move from that address, you will need to come back before us. Okay? Do you want that letter to be mailed to the Locust Street address, or would you like it to be mailed to the Royal Boulevard?
Royal Boulevard.
Okay. Thank you. All right, the next appeal is Ryan Zellner. Ryan is requesting to move to 1014 Aphrodite Road. All right. So Ryan, you're currently living at, is that 418 South 19th Street in Manitowoc?
1118.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, 1118.
1118, okay. And why do you wish to move to Green Bay?
I'm from Green Bay originally. I was in Green Bay at the time of my arrest. I've been born and raised here. The biggest thing when it comes down to it is working through treatments as I've been out, as well as things I've done inside in terms of working on treatment, is developing a positive prevention plan for relapse. My support system's up here, my parents, my therapist. I want to develop into a church community. I just got asked into the community circles of support. I reached out to Bob V, who does Broken Yoke Ministries. A lot of things in terms of my overall risk reduction is why I want to come up here. And the address is at my parents' house, a house that I lived at before when I was growing up. They lived there since the early to mid 1980s.
Okay. All right. So, being the last one, you've heard the routine, so we're going to ask you what you were arrested for and convicted of. Now, you do have, at least on your application, well, I'm sorry, it's quite a few different cases or counts, I'm not sure. So, you're going to probably kind of have to break them down for us. So, go ahead.
I'll give a general at the beginning, and I don't want to, so without going into any detail about my relationship with the victims, about 20 years ago, I made regrettable and disastrous choices, they're my own, where I victimized minor girls between the ages of 15 and 17 based on the profession I was in. This conduct included sending inappropriate, coercive, and sexually based text messages, email messages, nude photos, and then sexual acts that occurred, sexual intercourse, sexual assaults. So I'll specifically go into those things. This happened over about a 7-year time span in 3 different locations, 2 of which were in Brown County. One was in Manitowoc. One of the reasons why I'm here today to, again, transfer before I go into details was that wanted to save the victims to the harm of testifying, and so the cases got consolidated, and I was just being held in Manitowoc, so it was kind of how they decided to do that. It could have definitely went through Brown County as well, but that's how it was kind of decided with all of the parties involved. The specific charges as sexual assault by my profession, and that occurred with a 16-year-old. Most of these cases, I was in my 20s into age of 32. This happened in 2003 and occurred, again, pushing the boundaries, sexual messages, which grew into sexual phone conversations, and then sexual intercourse over a 3-month time span. That happened in 2003 from April to about August. Then there's 2 counts of child enticement. One was with a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old, and that I sent lewd text messages in order for them to come to my classroom where I'd rope them over their clothes. Then there's 4 counts of exposing a child to harmful descriptions, and that was tailored towards the text messaging, online messaging, where I talked about myself when I'm naked, different stages of arousal. And then there was exposing a child to harmful materials, and that's where I sent a nude photograph of my penis to a 16-year-old. And then 2 more counts, using computers to facilitate a sex crime. That is where I inappropriately texted somebody and then later groped her in the classroom. And I grabbed her breast. And then forcing a child to do sexual activity. That was where I was in the state of undress while on a webcam with one of my victims, who was 16. All egregious, all disgusting, all abhorrent. I disgraced my profession, I disgraced my family, I disgraced every community that I've been in. I was in a position of authority and power, and I exploited that because I was looking for acceptance from the people who I was around. I was in a disastrous, harmful relationship. It was toxic. It was abusive. It's not an excuse for what I did, but a reason to where I was at with my mindset back then. I was the adult, and I was in a profession that I got into because I loved, but I disgraced it because I didn't get help for myself during these times. And I hurt a number of people, their families, and the communities that I taught in.
how did the police get involved? At what point did they get notified?
So one of my victims was brave enough to come forward and talk about what had been happening a few months prior with some inappropriate text messaging.
Okay.
And I really appreciate that person doing that because it really changed my life around. And they had to have tremendous courage to go out and say this against me in the position that I held. And so they came and let law enforcement know, and I was arrested in April. And they did a long investigation of my educational history, and a number of charges came to light.
So when the police came to you that first time, did you divulge all of your history, or did you make them do the investigation?
I spoke with them during that night without an attorney, and then later spoke to them a few months later with an attorney present, but I wanted to be clear, as concise as possible.
So you did freely tell them everything?
Correct. Correct. And it was something that I later said at my sentencing as well, in terms of, they gave us an opportunity to speak, and I thought it was a moment to be accountable and to send a message to any other educators or coaches to make sure they don't ever break boundaries. So.
Okay. Lieutenant Allen, is that pretty accurate?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Do you guys have any questions regarding his offense?
So you were a teacher?
Yes, sir. I just didn't want to say that at the beginning because I didn't know in terms of that relationship, I'm trying to protect the people that I hurt, so I didn't know, in terms of, because my one charge is sexual assault by school staff. So.
Yeah.
How much time did you do overall?
So I served 15 years of incarcerated time. I'm on 18 years of supervision, and then out of my charges, 5 of those were what I got sent to prison for, and the remaining were put into a probation to run concurrent to one another. So at the end of my supervision, there'll be 3 years of probation for that.
So over that 15 years, you weren't offered to do SOT in prison?
So that's a great question. I was not. I advocated for myself around every avenue to do this. When I first came in, I was staffed at Dodge Correctional Institution. I was offered the opportunity there, so I was able to meet with a therapist, a psychologist. They don't offer SOT there, but I was able to, when I got there, I looked at myself and I said, how did I get here? How did a guy that didn't want to get speeding tickets do these things? And so I sat down and worked on cognitive behavioral therapy, looking at triggering and interventions. And so the psychologist I was working with had done SOT at Oshkosh. And so there's a small number of general population inmates at Dodge Correctional. So I was able to do about 1,000 hours my first 5 years there, and really had a good base. For SOT, they transferred me to Racine Correctional. COVID hit, and then because I'm low on the compass spectrum, they kept passing me up for guys that had higher needs, even though my release was coming up. But I advocated as much as I could do. So when I got out, my first priority was I need to get involved in treatment. So I was able to get enrolled up here at Family Services immediately, and so weekly I meet with a therapist until I can get into my DCC official SOT. So I try to do whatever I could once I got out, again, to continue with the treatment, continue with the relapse prevention plans that I set up while being incarcerated.
Okay. And for the record, he did provide us some documentation from Dr. Drake. I'm not sure if he's really a doctor, but is he a doctor? But Counselor Drake. That he has been seen 2 times and will be seen weekly to address treatment goals related to risk management. Oh my heavens, I'm sorry. Did I ask you if you wanted to do this in closed session?
We're already here, so we can.
I apologize.
It's okay. One of the things, just look at the date on that. That was when I first started, after I got out. So I've seen him weekly since then, and then during our last session, he did provide the next 3 weeks out.
Yeah.
It's something that I'm committed to, even as I go through my treatment through the DCC, Department of Community Corrections. I still want to stay. Just again, this preventative care is very, very important. Again, towards preventing relapse.
Okay. Okay. So, all right.
You've got my company listed on here. Do you work with Forward Services?
So they're one of my advocacy right now, so I go through Forward Services in terms of trying to find, when I was looking for a job, when I was looking for housing, I just trying to get any sort of assistance when I got out, so I met with Forward Services down in Manitowoc County. So my situation down there is, because I didn't live in Manitowoc County, I don't have any family in Manitowoc County. I'm in a temporary living placement, and my probation agent went to the city council down there and worked with the police department. They gave me 90 days in TOP, but that is it. After the 30 days from now, or 35 days, I will go homeless. Now, I understand, what you said a few cases ago, that I am not technically, my case is not from here, but I am from here, and I lived here, and my family, my support's here, and everything that I require for continued success in my relapse plan is up here. I know that's not an issue for all of you, but I'm just asking for mercy for that, mercy that I didn't give my victims in my past. And again, those are some of the things you have questions about the treatment I have done, and some of those things I'm obviously transparent in the answer.
When did you actually get out of prison?
So I got out on March 25th.
March 25th.
Yes.
Okay. And are you going to be do you have a GPS on?
I do.
Are you going to be lifetime?
I am, yes. So
Okay.
yeah, there was a law that was signed last year, the 2 strikes, so 2 sex cases requires now to be lifetime GPS, which again, a great preventative measure for the community, great preventative measure for ourselves, again, keeping yourself accountable, so no issues there.
Okay. And you're working at Aaron's?
Yes, ma'am.
If you would be approved to move here, you're going to still continue to drive that until you find maybe something here, or what's your plan?
So yeah, my plan is to stay there. It's a great company. They gave me a second chance. I sat with their interview committee, was very transparent. And there's one of their core values is honesty, and so right away I wanted to be honest and talk about my past. And they were very forthcoming in offering that second chance. The distance between driving from Manitowoc to here is about the same. It's about 30 minutes. But I do obviously know that there are other employment opportunities up here in the area, but I feel loyal to stay with Aaron's in terms of how the second chance they gave me, and I want to give every day a great day for them. So I'm a painter there. So,
Painter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that in Chilton? Or-
That's in Brilliant.
Brilliant,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I knew it was somewhere around there.
So you've got some pretty powerful people up here, Shannon Ross and Adam Barstow. Are they here to speak on your behalf?
They are. So we talk about remorse and rehabilitation. One of the things that I learned going through my therapy was that I'm going to be able to show people the person who I am better than I'm able to tell you. And I have a lot of documents here that can show progress and show I got involved in restorative justice. Was a proxy for people that they couldn't meet with their victim, that I would meet with them. But there's also things that I did while incarcerated to show my remorse, because saying sorry is the first step. Remorse, rehabilitation, those things go hand in hand, and it's a process, and it's a continued work. And so one of the things I got involved in my last couple of years was Marquette University was looking to bring in classes inside the prison system and have a blended class model where students would come in with a professor and learn side by side. It was a very large vetting process to get in. And I got picked out of 8 people that, out of I think 450 some people applied. And the classes were all themed based on justice impacted things. The first class I took was children of incarcerated parents. I'm a parent. I have 2 sons. That relationship has obviously been fractured by my past, but hopefully can be rebuilt. But this class was centered on the impact that incarceration has on our kids. Another class was life after incarceration, and that's where I got to meet Adam and Shannon and my professor as well. And throughout these classes inspired me to not only change myself even more, to continue to be the best version of myself, knowing that I was at rock bottom. And that statement of hurt people, that's true 100% with me. And rebuilding that, I was able to change the physical space at Racine Correctional. I changed the visitation room. I put a proposal in to make it more family and child friendly. I had, when my oldest son would come visit me, the visiting rooms are very drab and quite frankly, not conducive to building a child-parent relationship. And so the deputy ward happened to be in attendance when I made a presentation. He liked it, and we put a mural in there. We got a grant full of a children's play space with books that are centered on incarcerated themes, just impacted themes for all sort of demographics. And so I was able to meet these guys and really start to look at reentry as I would be getting out. And so it's become a passion of mine. And so one of the things about stabilizing up in this area with my parents is being able to give back and be a part of what Adam and Shannon do. So those are two gentlemen that, sorry, that was a long-winded answer to your question, I suppose.
Do you guys have questions, or, yeah?
How did you get connected with Broken Yoke?
Bob sent me a letter one time, and I started corresponding with him. And so, through that relationship, we had some letters, and obviously he does his prison ministry. And that's a really big part of my transformation as well as a person. That's why finding a church and settling down up here would also be important. And again, looking at your personal growth and acceptance and forgiveness, all the things that are part of the relapse plan. Because if people can't forgive themselves, typically you see them right back in front of a judge because they can't. So that's been a really big step for me and obviously I'm still emotional after 20 years because I know there's a ripple effect of our choices. And I drop a rock in the ocean, I can only view a certain way. And I saw the indirect victims. I saw my dad, who I never seen cry before in his life, have to come and see me in jail for the first time and wept. And my uncle and my high school friend. So I got to see the impact of my past on them. I couldn't see what it did to my victims, but I know I hurt them. And so that allowed for growth and to make sure that I'll continue to move forward in the right direction.
Thank you.
You mentioned that you have 2 children, and do you have a relationship with them right now?
I do not. At one point I did. With both of them, I would see my youngest through Zoom. My oldest would visit, but he's 20 now, my youngest is 15. Again, that's something that I'm not putting any pressure on. At some point, whenever they come around, they'll be open up with open arms, but welcome with open arms.
Okay. And then, I see you have people here. Are they here to speak on your behalf, or are they just here for support?
I believe they're here to speak on my behalf.
Yes?
I have 3 right now.
Okay. Whoever would like to come up first? Oh, on the screen? All those people on the screen want to talk?
I think so.
Oh, who on the Zoom would like, Adam, would you like to speak first?
Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you guys for your time. I'll be brief because I see there's a few people that want to speak. I met Ryan a few years ago as I was teaching a class in Marquette, as he detailed earlier. And I think the thing that struck me was I was working on a lot of reentry projects. Full disclosure, I spent a quarter century in prison myself. And so I eat, sleep, and breathe reentry. And without fail, every single time I came into class, the first thing Ryan would do would come and ask how I am and make sure that I'm taking care of myself, because it's easy to burn out when you're working in this space, trying to help people you're passionate trying to help. And when Ryan got out, he was one of the first people that I saw take initiative on a level that I haven't really seen before, and I've been in the reentry space ever since I was paroled in 2018. And for somebody to want it more than anyone else that I've ever seen is what makes me here to support him today. Obviously, the decision's in your hands. I don't want to tell you what to do with your job. But Ryan is somebody that I feel comfortable supporting, given that he did some terrible things, I think, self-admittedly. I think he has to bear the weight of that. But I've only known him for a few years, and I think he's somebody that I would feel comfortable were he living next to me. So thank you guys for your time.
Thank you. Shannon, you want to go next?
Yes, thank you. Is it loud? Can you hear me, or is it loud?
No, we can hear you.
Okay, there's a bit of a conference behind me, so I just don't know if it'd be too loud. Thank you for letting me speak. And one thing Adam did mention is that he's in Israel right now, and it's 2 a.m. I think. So that's how serious this is for at least for Ryan this moment. And so I met Ryan after Adam, after hearing about how impressed Adam was with him, and since coming home, I've been trying to offer as many resources and guidance as I can, connecting to different folks that I know who are on the registry nationally and locally that can be of use to his process and reacclimating and reintegrating. For me, it's not so much what Ryan represents in terms of like his accountability and the things that he's spoken about, that Adam spoke about. It's kind of a bit different from me. So I, as well, spent 17 years in prison. I've been home for about 4.5 years, just doing a variety of things across the state and the country and the states to try and address the harms I cause and the harms other people are causing and might cause, and try to prevent them. And so I was I had a fair amount of experience inside of people that got out and went on the registry. And the organization that I run wouldn't exist for 2 people that are currently on the registry. One of whom is in the South right now, and has gone through the same process and got approval from the board to have housing. And it's an area where I have become keenly aware that this is an issue and a topic that a lot of folks do not understand. And I really appreciate you all for taking on this issue. It's a very, I'm sure, questionable and not faint position to be in to make these decisions because of the way people view this population. But there's so much humanity and there's so much intention and so much beauty in folks that have committed some of these very heinous crimes that can then give, and oftentimes are in a position and desire and passion to do so more than most people in society because of what they've done in the past and who they've been. So I recognized right away that there was all of that in Ryan, and having got to know him, it was very clear that the best of what can come from very good experience like this is represented in Ryan's potential in the future, if I'm allowed to do so. So thank you guys for letting me speak, and that's sorry I have to offer him.
Thank you. Who's that other one? Darren? Darren?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Hi, hello, greetings. My name is Darren Wheelock. I am the Marquette professor that Ryan took in his reentry life after incarceration. I'm also one of the co-founders of our prison education program at Residency. And so I've had, over the past few years, experience with Ryan as a student. And then in another class I taught, he served as a teaching assistant in that, or as a tutor in that class. And I just wanted to speak on his behalf. I got my PhD in criminology, so I studied reentry, I studied reoffending, I know all the risk factors, and in my experience, what I witnessed in Brian is someone that has been completely dedicated to his own growth and development as a human being. And a lot of, like, when DVOC and other academics talk about criminogenic needs and making sure that there's a plan and making sure that someone is just really committed and dedicated to that process of reentry. I just feel I've witnessed that Ryan has really he tends to really put in that extra work, go that extra mile, do whatever he can to make sure that he is reflecting on his own behavior and on himself and how he communicates with people. There's just a really great sensitivity to how he operates and goes about in the world and how he interacts with other people. And so something that I've just noticed is, someone that is dedicated to being better, doing better, and being a different person than he was 20 years ago. And that he kind of hits all those things that, a lot of people that work in the space generally look for. So I just wanted to make sure that from my perspective and my experience with Ryan, I could just share that. So thank you very much for your time, and I really appreciate being able to say a few words.
Thank you.
I apologize, I want to add one more thing if possible. I just thought of it. I'm so sorry if that's not possible. Is it okay?
Very quickly.
Okay, so me and Adam both having spent a lot of time in prison, we've been asked to do things like this before with people. We don't, for a reason we don't do it, because a lot of times there's a very keen radar that we have on folks that are not sincere in their path forward from this lifestyle and from any lifestyle in prison. So this isn't something we just do regularly. Like this, again, something very much that has been evident in the change of an individual like Ryan. So I just wanted to add that he has no money, his bank account, he has not paid us either. So this is a very, very serious thing that we believe in to do this, so that's what's here.
Okay, thank you. Is SM here to speak on your behalf? Do you know who that is? Do we know who that is?
No, they logged on here after the meeting started, so I wasn't able to ask who they were.
Well, we'll just, do you have your people in the audience? Anyone back there gonna come forward?
Sure.
Come on up. And then just state your name. They've got your address
Yep.
and information.
My name is Dave Radke. I'm Ryan's uncle. Ryan is 9 years younger than me. You know, we had 4 siblings in our family. One has passed. His mom is my oldest sister. And, you know, our family's close, but when they have family, or when siblings have kids, they're in sports. You don't connect all the time. But where I'm going with this is, you know, seeing Ryan, you know, I thought, well, he was 9 years younger. I didn't associate much with Ryan. He was a kid. I was in my 20s. He was in his teens. But through this journey, of course, Ryan and I have gotten closer. My faith is very important to me. He knows that everyone in my world knows my faith is number one. And Ryan and I have talked a lot. My parents are still alive in their 80s, and their faith is important to them. He does associate with my mom and my dad. And spiritually, Ryan is very supported by his family, by us. I'm not sure what I could say to you besides that I've invested in Ryan. I invested emotionally in him. I've told him many times, I don't care if your feelings are hurt, I want you to succeed, and that's who I am. I mean, there's times where, you know, I'll say something, well, anybody, to my sister, to anybody in my life, that I'll say it kindly, but if I feel I need to say something, his success is what's important. And him coming before you today is to live with my sister and my brother-in-law. My sister is very accountable, very precise. That's who we are in our family, and I know her expectations of her son. She doesn't want him to fail as well. And I understand this is just something temporary until eventually he can find his own place. And not sure that it's, you know, going to be even in Brown County or close to where he's working. I don't get involved with that, but I think today we're asking for him to live with his parents. And like I said, he'll have a lot of accountability with his mother. And he does through me, through Shane, through his dad, his sister. So I'm just here to say I support him. I ask that you consider his request. And I pray that God uses him to serve a greater good. And, you know, I prayed on the way here what I was going to say. I'm not sure, not sure what to say. So I guess we'll see what happens. So thank you.
Thank you.
I signed up, but I'm not sure if I'm on there.
Okay, I have Shane and Bruce.
Perfect. Did you want to go first, Bruce, or you want me to? Sure, it doesn't matter.
So I'm Ryan's father. I'm very emotional, so I apologize. But I know that if he lives with us, we'll keep him in a safe place, and then we'll get him to a good place to live. But he's got a job, and we'll be very supportive. So I want you to know that we'll take care of him, and we'll make sure that he stays on the straight path. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
State my name, give me my address.
Are you Shane?
Yeah, I
Okay, we got you. Thank you.
Perfect. So I'm Ryan's friend, Shane Urban. Ryan and I went to high school together. We lost touch for a while. My first time coming back in contact with him, my mom actually informed me. I said, "Hey, Shane, your friend got in some trouble." I'm like, "Really? What?" First time seeing him in a really long time was in an orange jumpsuit with shackles on his hands and his feet. It's a hard thing to see. The first time seeing a high school friend, that I never thought that something like that would happen. Our paths kind of went different ways. I actually worked at Rawhide Boys Ranch with juvenile offenders. So I've got a degree, master's degree in social work, certified advanced practice social worker. I've got really good BS detectors with people. I've learned that, done lots of counseling myself. In talking to Ryan, going through this journey with him for 15 years, I didn't see a lot of that with my BS detectors that I had. You know, he's driven, he's motivated. You know, I think he kind of alluded to it before. He didn't even have a speeding ticket, or maybe had a speeding ticket before something like this happens. It's a deep, dark secret for him. Him coming out though, I've been a part of him trying to find a place to live. And that's been a huge challenge, a lot of stress and anxiety for him. And that's been put on him, you know, some of the decisions that he's made. I think he forgot it today, but he has a notebook, like college ruled notebook filled with places that he's called, apartments to try to get a hold of. I think his move with his parents is a good support system for him, but also a good temporary place to be so he doesn't go homeless. And so I want to just thank you all for your time in doing this and carving out your time to, you know, be here tonight and to do this. But I hope that you guys can make that decision and are okay with him moving in with his parents. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I just want to add, Ryan does take his supervision seriously. I mean, I spent time with him, and he came out. We have a small hobby farm in Oconto County, and he came out to work, and he constantly checks his monitor. There was an episode he was afraid it wasn't working, and we had to get him in the shade to make sure. There's other things that he probably didn't see that I've noticed, how he takes his conditions very serious. I actually learned a lot about the process, and takes it very, very serious. He does not want to live his life or make the mistakes he did years ago.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone have questions?
I don't have any questions.
So you heard me earlier, I do have concerns about people coming in from another county, but I also understand, well, now I understand why they were read in at Manitowoc, and I give you kudos for that. Again, I like to see that treatment, but I will say that I've been on this board a long time, and when I first saw your file, yeah, you're right, they're pretty horrific charges, right? Especially for someone in your position. But listening to you and how you are taking accountability for all of it and how you feel about the profession, your communities, and the victims, I think that says a lot about your character. And I feel a lot more comfortable hearing you versus reading about you on paper. So that's how I feel right now.
I agree. He's from here, temporarily living in Manitowoc. You got some pretty powerful people to speak on your behalf, and that says a lot about you. So I'm inclined to vote in favor of him coming here.
And he hit the three things that we look for: responsibility, remorse, and rehabilitation.
Yep.
Sometimes we have trouble finding that, but they may be horrific crimes, but he's shown a great ability to hit all three of those.
Move to approve, address specific.
Second to approve, address specific.
All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you for listening to me and listening to the story and the people speak on my behalf.
Good luck to you.
Good luck. All right, is there any information we need to discuss for our next, no? Okay, our next meeting is scheduled for June 18th. Deanna already told us she's not going to be here. So,
Thank you all.
thank you.
Thank you.
We just need a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Thank you, Lieutenant Allen.
Take care.
You too.
Sorry for all the background noise over here, my goodness.